Hello, everybody. So today, let's look at how we can generate some interesting graphs in Excel. This is really going to be interesting. And what we'll do today is try to generate certain 3D graphs. And I can tell you this is actually much more simpler than you would imagine. So without wasting any further time, let us start with how we can generate graphs, in fact, 3D graphs, maybe 3D bar charts is what we can look at today. And a couple of things here. There can be times where a 3D chart makes more sense and a better visual way of addressing and making sense of the data that you have, and rather than just a 2D chart. You could have like three factors looking at it, and three different dimensions of data. So what we will try to do is we just try to set this up using three dimensions. Let's say we have time. uh, let's take a hypothetical example of a company that generates profit, and total profit, I would say. Earnings, let's take the example of net profit made and the total time taken to generate that net profit. So what we do here is, we just take the example of, let's say, five companies that can take care of this. One, two, three, four, five. And um, so this is our initial data, which would actually be plotted on a graph to make sense of it. And let's take some hypothetical names here. Softtech. Let's call this CodeBit. Right Systems. Bits is, let's take some random names. And T thesis, or let's call it TechNet and Net IT. So, the use case that we have here is we have five different firms and they generate profits over various periods of time. So we're trying to find out which firm usually is more efficient and has a higher profit through certain visual representation. And let's say the total profit is in millions, and let's say randomly 6.5 millions, 2.8 millions, 11 millions, 3 millions, and let's take one extreme of 19. Let's take different time periods, and let's say it took like time in months. And what we'll do is keep this description short because this is what uh, appears on the chart. So MNTH. So let's say it took randomly 5 months to generate 6 millions. And to just take an extreme example, it took just 3 months to generate 19 million, 12 months for 2.8. To take another extreme example of low efficiency, and 6 months in 4 months. So now we have our data set, and what we gonna try to do is make sense of this data visually, because the use case scenario for this is that for small set of data, you could still make a sound judgment by just looking at the data. But when you actually have a huge set of data, the visual graph makes a lot of sense. Let us just, center align the text here. And let us now see how we can generate the graphs. So we go to the insert tab here, we select our data, and we go to the charts where we have different charts. What we have to do here is select a chart which should make best sense to visually depict our scenario. And if you go to the 3D data here, 3D columns, we can go for the fourth one here, although the others would also make sense, but fourth one looks more practical in our scenario. I'll tell you why. So I select that graph, call it turnover, and just drag it here next to my data. And if you look carefully at the visual representation, now you get a better understanding of what happened comparatively in the 5 different companies. And quite clearly, we can see that NetIT looks to be extremely profitable within a short span of time, within 3 months. And comparatively, BitSys looks the next best place to invest. What doesn't look good is CodeBit, which is like 12 months to generate a net profit of 2.8 million. And so clearly NetIT and BitSys stand out here. And we could make this sense out of a graph. If it was a huge set of data, the graph would really helpful. What also you can do is you can add some beautification to your graph and make it look extremely appealing, especially when you do a presentation. That makes a lot of sense. So let us look at what options we have here. Probably you could give out a border which is more solid, a solid line with the color. I mean, I could go for something in blue, you know. And what I could also do is, let's see how it looks now. Yeah, I could further format it by fill. And if I give a solid fill, I can choose a very light pastel color here. Probably something like this. Or I could just leave it white. White is good. Okay, this looks good, light gray. What else can I do to make this graph look more appealing is compound type. Let's look at rounded corners. This makes the graph look even more appealing with rounded corners. And I would want to look at what are the other options I have here. So glow, if I can add a certain glow to the chart, makes more sense. Then I can put this out on a PPT. If you don't like that, probably, if you can avoid going for it, no glow. Colors, we can choose. That's the color for the glow, what we're talking about. So I'll go for a very light color and presets, just give it a tad bit nice shade here. And what this does is, let me look at the soft edges. We already did that. So I think this is good enough from the formatting perspective. It's better than most. And what you see now is actually a generated graph, which takes time and profit into picture. and gives a good study of, you know, how things would stand out, and ECD make a sound judgment that NetIT stands out here. So this is an example of a bar graph which takes time and profit and the name of the company into picture and generates a graph. We could have a fourth column here which takes an additional parameter like EBITDA and then probably generate a different graph. And in this way, we can generate quite complex graphs. But I think this is a good starting example of generating a bar graph. And I think Excel is really good at this. So a 3D bar graph or 3D column bar graph. This is a great example. And I hope you like this video. So please subscribe and continue following this channel for more excellent videos on Excel. So until next time, bye bye.